Hey, Jessica.
Hello, Cochran. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining me today on myFM. Now, your name is John, but on Survivor, you went with your last name, Cochran. So from here on out, what do you want people to call you?
Whatever they feel I deserve to be called. You know, that whole request for Cochran was really premised on the belief that I'd become some great Survivor character or hero or whatever. If people don't feel I deserve it, they can call me John. And if they like me, they can call me Cochran. Or even if they like me, they're just going to be affectionate and pretend like they know me more than they do, then they call me John. Or JC. There's so many options. I mean, I take no offense anyway.
Good. So let's talk about that lovely flip you made. In my opinion, the biggest move on Survivor South Pacific. But looking back now, would you have stayed with your original tribe, or would you have flipped with a different approach?
So there was no scenario in which I would have stayed with my tribe the entire way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
The question is whether I would have either flipped at a different time or whether I would have done different stuff after flipping. I think that one of my mistakes was after flipping, I felt too safe because I'd gotten a Final Four deal from Albert, Coach, and Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, I don't have to do any scrambling anymore. But I really did. It was a phony offer, as it turns out, so I really should have been scrambling and pulling people together.
Yeah.
And then the other option would have been to demand that Ozzy give me his immunity idol at that flipped tribal council. Stay with my tribe for at least a couple more tribal councils until we've picked off a few Apollo people. Then, after having given Apollo a chance to start fracturing, because the problem is Apollo had the majority the entire time in the second half of the game, so they had no reason to start eating each other alive.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they had started going down in numbers, then we would have seen the family start to break apart.
Yeah.
So if I'd given them a chance to start breaking apart, then kind of wrangled them together and created a new makeshift alliance, that could have been good. But I don't think flipping in itself is some horrible decision. It's just how I followed up on it or when I did it.
Yeah, it's how you decided to play the game, really. So,
yeah.
You and Ozzy, who is obviously a challenge master, were extremely close in the Redemption Island duel. How did it feel to almost beat him?
I mean, on the one hand, it's unbelievable because he's probably the greatest challenge competitor ever.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's frustrating because now I've gotten so greedy that I'm like, oh man, I could have beaten them. And how great would that have been if I could beat an Ozzy? But given the fact that I entered Redemption Island completely expecting to be just humiliated, not only to lose, but to lose in such a spectacular fashion that, people would be laughing their heads off. And it was very close to actually happening because I could not throw the freaking grappling hook for the life of me.
Yeah.
It went on, but they didn't even show the full extent of it. That was going on and on and on. I was throwing it. It would swing back at my face because I wasn't giving it any slack. And they added some cartoon sound effects when I was throwing it in the show.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good.
Hey, it looks good on TV.
Yeah, so Ozzy had all his bags retrieved by the time I hadn't even gotten a single one.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the fact that it was so close was immensely gratifying, given that I was expecting to leave the game just in complete shame.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's say you did beat him. Would you have aligned, or who would you have aligned with to try and make it to the final two?
Well, so the thing is, I probably would have had to have won a few more duels to get back in the game. Mm-hmm. So I beat Oz, and I would have to beat
someone else,
Edna next, I guess, and then whatever else happens. I probably would have. Gosh, well, it depends on who was in the game. I probably would try to. I don't want to say I would return to Coach, but I know that would be what my instinct is.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be pathetic, and everyone would say I'm a loser for doing that. I would not. I would probably say the ideal for me actually would probably be Brandon and Rick or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe Brandon and Coach. Because Brandon's enough of a polarizing character that he could lose some votes that way. And Coach is obviously a very polarizing character in that he would have had to have broken a lot of promises to bring me to the end with him.
Right.
So I think that would have been a good final three, just in terms of maximizing my chances at winning.
Yeah. Now that you've played the game, you've lived it, how different is it actually playing the game than it is from watching at home?
I mean, it's night and day. I mean, I go into the game thinking I'm the biggest Survivor pro in the world, and then I get there, and then the second that I hear my name is being written down at the first tribal council, I freak out and go into this defensive posture that I really maintained for the entire pre-merge game. I never felt comfortable or really even happy or safe the entire pre-merge game, which is not how I envisioned my Survivor experience being when I fantasized about it for the past 11 years.
Yeah.
So it's completely different, but, better in some ways and worse in others. I mean, it's a dream. It's bizarre that I'm even talking about it right now.
Yeah, I know. So if you were to do it again, obviously you would, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think everybody really would. My only fear is that I'd be kicked off first or something because I'm weak, I'm annoying, I'm a coward, and I'm a traitor. So it's why are people going to be clamoring to work with me? It's a matter of whether I can kind of build trust with a new group of people and basically say, look, I'm not always going to flip on you at the last second. I mean, there are a lot of factors that led up to that. And I'm not like completely worthless around champ. But, you know, it would be an uphill battle. But of course I'd love to play again. It's just whether I think I have a shot at making it past like the first tribal council.
Hey, you could always hit the gym a few times before you went back on, right?
I actually tried, I didn't hit the gym, but I mean, I did work out before going on. Because I was at 150 pounds in January, and like an idiot, instead of bulking up, I ran a lot and was down to 138 pounds when I started the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left the game at 120 pounds.
That's weird. You look good anyways. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. Oh, my gosh. So I guess I am charming.
You are.
That's a completely sarcastic comment, but I'll take it.
It's not sarcastic. Don't worry. So my last question for you, Cochran, I don't want to take up all your time, but now that you've spent time with Coach and Ozzy, who do you want to see win of the two? Like, if they did make it to the final two?
Well, it just depends on what criteria. It depends on how they argue their case at final tribal council. That's a really big thing. Because Ozzy he'll have some work to do in terms of convincing me. Just because I don't view Redemption Island as like the pure way to win the game. I mean, a big part of the game is that you have to get people you voted out to vote for you.
Yeah. But
if Ozzy comes back in the game and is in the final, he wouldn't have been responsible for voting out like 80% of the jury.
Right.
So he'd have to do some really big time convincing. Coach has some problems to deal with, in that, you know, he said he was going to defend me with his dying breath, and he didn't make any effort to keep me. I mean, we had the numbers to keep me. It could have been me, Coach, Albert, and Edna.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet he refused to do it. So he's going to have to convince me that, you know, his honor, integrity, loyalty shtick wasn't a complete, you know.
Yeah, he'd have to do some schmoozing, I guess, with you, eh?
Yeah, I mean, but you know, I'm so easily seduced by Coach that it probably wouldn't have to be that much schmoozing.
That's true.
I'm like putty in his hands.
Oh, well, you know what, Cochran? I think you should be very proud of yourself. You stood out, you played a great game, you made big moves, and of everyone who was on Survivor South Pacific, I bet that you will be remembered the most, so congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for joining me today on myFM, and we will see you on finale night.
Awesome.
Have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.